Hello, my name is Tim Maggio, and today we're going to explore the social change model and how this can be an effective model for developing a leadership program for athletes on our colleges and universities. So the first thing we want to do is actually explore the social change model. So you'll see that there's three different bubbles: the individual, the group values, and then the society and community values. And also it's really important to notice those arrows and how it's interconnecting all of those different things, because the individual values impact the society values, and so on and so forth. The society affects the individual, the society affects the group. And it's important to know that all of these develops are going towards the goal of positive social change in our leadership development. So how does that apply to athletics? Well, we want to integrate them into our communities and explore these different parts of the social change model with them to create them into better student leaders both on and off the field and preparing them for future. So I had this idea to bring the social change model to an athletic program where it will be comprehensive and it will be very intentional about developing these student leaders in all of those ways: the individual part, the group part, and then citizenship and enacting social change on our communities. So I was thinking of a comprehensive year-long program, because sometimes I think that we do one presentation with our athletes and then they forget about it. So I want to have really meaningful and intentional and deep conversations throughout the whole year so that they know that this is something important, and I really want to see them change in a positive way. So I've developed this program called Shepherd Athletes Lead #7C, because in the social change model, there's 7 C's, such as congruence, consciousness of self, controversy with civility, and that last one being positive social change. So within the first phase of the program, which will be the first third of the academic year, will be about exploring the individual athlete and what their personality is and their individual values. And they'll have to do a service project around their individual values before moving to the next phase, which are those group values, where they're going to have to think about how their individual values affect the group. And then they're going to have to collaborate at the end of this phase with non-athletic groups to show how their group values can, in fact, become something that is collaborative. After that, after they do that next community project, they move to the citizenship part of the social change model. And this is going to be about connecting the individual and the group to the larger society and community. Each athletic team will then have to come up with a social change project where they're going to have to enact social change in a community of their choosing. And at the end, we'll have a banquet to celebrate all the great successes. So, before we came up with this idea of a student athlete leadership program around social change, we really had to look at the literature. So, the first thing we looked at was student engagement and what the literature says about this. Typically, students become better integrated into our universities and have a better chance at succeeding if they are engaged on campus. But engagement is now becoming something about affirming their identities, and we really need to think about that with athletes in the social change model, because if we're engaging them by exploring their individual identity that in that first phase, then we're going to be able to engage them better throughout their whole academic career. Next, it's really important to explore student volunteering and how that affects our college campuses. One of the main things that I found was that the mission and the culture of the university really strongly affects how students view this. So, if we're going to enact the social change model as a program, then we really need to think about the mission of the university and how that frames into the larger picture. We also have to think about student athletes and where their leadership already is. A lot of times, our leadership is really thought of in the team captains because they have that position and that role. But it's important to know that the social change model does not see leadership as positions, but it sees leadership as a process. And that's the process of getting to positive social change and making a difference in our world. And that's where we want students to be. So, what do we think is going to motivate student athletes to social change, a positive social change? Well, the literature really talks a lot about academics and how student athlete motivation interact. Specifically, people look at how athletes are motivated towards their academic career and their athletic career and how those two things interact. And it really shows that there's a neutral difference, but we really need to focus our programming on academic performance, which is something the social change model can do because it'll explore all of those different identities and it'll allow them to be motivated to succeed. And I think a lot of times the literature really points out the fact that our student athletes are no different than any other student on our campus. They want to succeed, they want to be involved, they want to be engaged, but it's important to remember they hold a lot of different values and beliefs, and that's what this social change model is going to do is look at all of those differences they hold and become a comprehensive group. So we looked at those paintings and those different colors, and that eventually becomes this beautiful rainbow because you need every single color to build that. So, lastly, I think we just really need to reframe the way we think about athletes. These these are students who want to succeed, and we need to help them through this social change model and provide those opportunities to help them develop their leadership skills and really enact some positive social change on our campuses. Thank you.